Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Hope it's fantastic. One of you, at least one of you, has recently asked me when I'm going to get back to doing book reviews because they missed my book reviews. And the answer is it's going to be a while because I haven't really been reading. I mean, that's a lie. I read every day, but I haven't been reading like reviewable books or novels or, stuff like that. Because I've been focused on designing games, I've been focused on playing games again with M, and soccer season started. Like, I just haven't had time or energy to read. Now, that being said, I've been reading a lot of manga, and we talked about that last time, and so I brought, here's what I have been reading. I've been reading a whole bunch of Junji Ito. Last time we talked about manga, I talked about our book club was reading Ramina, and this month the book club is reading Uzumaki. And so I wanted to bring this up real quick because I believe that tomorrow, Wednesday, October the 6th, we're going to be talking about Uzumaki. I don't know if we're going to talk about the whole book or just the first few chapters or how far we're going to go, but we're going to talk about this book tomorrow, and that is on the Rolling Dice and Taking Names Discord channel. So I'll put a link to that down in the description if you want to come over and talk about it, if you picked it up and if you're reading it. I have been reading a lot of Junji Ito, and maybe I should do reviews on these, because I have a lot to say about this stuff, but it's hard for me to talk about these books without also talking about Uzumaki, and I wanted to hold that conversation until after the book club talked about it, because I want to have that conversation with those people beforehand, and I didn't want to taint our thoughts or taint to that. So there is a whole bunch of material here that I might talk about. I've also been reading things like I picked up Viking myths and sagas and the Norse mythology or Norse myths because I've been working on the Viking game, and as I am working through kind of a reimagining of that game, I wanted some kind of Viking inspired Viking thoughts in my head, Viking inspiration. So I've been I pick this up and read it. Usually in the mornings, I'll read little snippets. They're basically, like, this Viking Myths and Sagas is literally just a book of Viking myths and sagas. And so they're just little, like, most of them are smaller, like, 5-page stories. And so I'll read this in the morning when my head's fresh so I can think about how I want to work on that game. And part of the reason is because the game is not necessarily historically accurate. And so I wanted to read like what the Vikings thought of themselves. And I think I think the sagas are a good representation of how the Vikings viewed themselves. And that is what I want to put into the game. And so then this Norse Myths book is more about the mythology, the pantheon, that sort of stuff. And it's given me a whole lot of insight into kind of the daily mindset of a very spiritual group of people. And I think that might inform some of the game's mechanics. But anyway, all this is to say that I haven't been reading. Like, I haven't, other than manga, and I think it's just because it's short burst kind of stuff, especially Junji Ito's books, like even something as big as Uzumaki, which is like 800 pages or something like that. It's written in small chapters, like 10 or 15 pages. And for manga, 10 or 15 pages is like a single page of a novel, right? So it's really easy to just read 10 or 15 pages and then put it down and then go do something. And, the next day read another chapter or whatever. And reading novels that way doesn't work for me. I have a very short attention span, so for me to read and enjoy a full-length novel, I just have to sit and read it like as quickly as I can. Maybe a week. I did The Stand last year in like 10 days, and by the end of that book, I was already forgetting the first part of the book. Like, I can't retain it that long. So when I read novels, I read the whole novel. very quickly, because that's how I process things. I have some stuff on my short list of to read sitting upstairs. I was really hoping to read The Wheel of Time this year, and I haven't had the energy for it. I don't know why. I'm kind of honestly dreading picking it up, but I was hoping to at least reread The Great Hunt and whatever the second book is before the show comes out, because I have a feeling they're going to kind of do, the adaptation is not going to follow the books linearly. I don't think it can. I think they're going to have to put pieces here and have a split storyline to fit all that stuff in. I thought I would at least read the first two, but I haven't. What's on my short list? I have The Green Mile. I picked up a set of The Green Mile in the original, published form, which was, I think, 6 novellas, 6 short stories that tell the whole story of The Green Mile. I have that set that I want to read. Kill the Farm Boy, I definitely want to read soon. And Wise Man's Fear, the first book of The Name of the Wind. I want to revisit. I remember really liking The Name of the Wind when I read it the first time. The first 2 books, I was really into it. And I think I'm a little bit better read now, meaning that I have a little bit of a more... I have a broader palette to look at that book through a different lens now, and I basically have completely forgotten everything that was in it. So I think it's time to read that again. That's on my short list. And then there's probably a dozen books on my Kindle that I want to get to, but it just hasn't happened. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that all this goes to say, I had that really intense time of working on board games for a while. There's still a whole bunch of board game thoughts going on up here. In fact, there's a story-related board game idea that I want to work on at some point. I don't think I'm ready for it yet, but maybe I am. But I'm now at a point internally, emotionally, where I'm kind of looking for something. What is going to be the next thing that I latch onto for a little while? It's probably going to be books. It was this time last year when Em bought me the Kindle, and I started reading like crazy. And reading has always been a wintertime comfort for me, so I will probably read a bunch. But I haven't built anything for a while. I have a few projects that have started and I need to finish because they're for people. I really want to work in here, but I like I said the last time I said that, I don't want to work in here until the basement's done, and I don't know when that's going to be. And I feel like if I come down here to do something, if I come down here to work on a project that I want to work on, that I'm just, that's almost like an insult to Em, because this is ultimately going to be her room. And if I'm not working on it and I'm doing something for myself, that's just me being selfish. And so I have to figure out either how to get over that, or I just need to get that done so that I can come back in here and work again, because I miss making things. So books. If you want to hear about Junji Ito, I'll do a video on these books, and we can talk about them. Otherwise, stop by the Rolling Dice Taking Names channel on Discord tomorrow and talk about Uzumaki with us. It's going to be tomorrow night at I don't know what time we picked, 7:30 Eastern, 7 Eastern, 8 Eastern, somewhere around there. Just stop by. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is hypothesis. It is a noun meaning a principle derived from limited evidence, seen as sensible based on the analysis of available data, but not proven to the point where it is an accepted theory, rule, or law. In order to shake a hypothesis, it is sometimes not necessary to do anything more than push it as far as it will go. Denis Diderot, a French philosopher. Hypothesis. Hypothesis. That is the end of the H's, and hypothesis is a good word. Hypotheses are the mother of invention, I think.